Welcome to Lean Into Leadership, where we lead the conversation about anything and everything leadership related. On today's episode, Ku'Juana Quinn joins the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to Leadership in 20, which is never actually 20 minutes. We love that. But we have a special guest today, Ku'Juana, joining us. Real quick, Brandon, joined by
Romel'o,
Ku'Juana.
And we're going to hop into this one. We're going to hear a little bit about Ku'Juana's leadership journey, what leadership means to Ku'Juana, and all that great stuff. So I think Melo's got our first question as usual. Let's hop into it.
Yeah. All right, Ku'Juana. So the first question is, who are you?
So deep. Who am I? I would just say like I'm a very passionate leader. I care a lot about social justice issues, equity, diversity, inclusion, stuff like that. So I try to make sure I lead in that frame. I'm also a very collaborative leader. I'm also, emotional person. I have feelings. I feel a lot. So I'm very empathetic as well. And I'm also still kind of discovering who I am too, because college was very helpful. But like as I move on to like post-college life, after I graduate in a couple days, I'm hoping to explore more about who I am. And we're constantly evolving. But I guess there's a few things to describe who I am.
I like that. That's like a foundation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So also to kind of go more in depth into that is like also like your background too, like where you're from, and I would say what are you interested in?
Yeah, I'm from Ypsilanti, Michigan, but I was born in Muskegon, Michigan. I lived there for 4 years, and then I moved to Ypsi with my family, my mom, my stepdad, and then my sisters later joined us. I have 2 younger sisters, and we live in Ypsilanti. I went to school in like the Ypsilanti Ann Arbor area, and then I came here for school, so I came to Mount Pleasant Central for my college career. And in terms of like, I guess. You said what's the second part again? I'm sorry.
Like interest, or I can even say like what brought you here too.
Yeah. Definitely the community. So I came. I'm an LES Scholarship Leadership Advancement Scholar, and so I came in 2020, like March. So pre-COVID, I came to Tours Central, and I really fell in love with the community here. Just like the tour, like the Leadership Institute, and I felt like I could really kind of blossom as a leader here. Because in high school, I would say I was still involved in leadership roles, but I feel like I wasn't confident in my abilities yet. I kind of was like more of a supportive leader, which is nothing wrong with that, but I would never like stepped out on my own yet, and I wasn't like confident. Like I feel like I need other people's support, and coming here at Central, I kind of felt like I was able to step out on my own. That's why I purposely didn't want to go to school like where all my friends were going, so U of M or Michigan State. Nothing wrong with either of those schools, but like I wanted to step out and push myself to like be my own person. So that's kind of what led me to Central.
I like that. Yeah, I hear a lot of students talk about that. Like they like their friends and stuff in high school, but they want to step out of somewhere, go a little bit further away, and blossom and be in a new environment and discover something and become somebody who they never thought they were. So
exactly.
You kind of mentioned too that maybe in your younger kind of leadership journey, how maybe you weren't always taking maybe those more prominent leadership roles, but you were still finding ways to lead, right? And we talk about that, like you don't need a title or a role to be a leader, but you kind of mentioned too maybe pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and I'm really thinking about maybe like that incoming LAS class specifically, who hopefully will watch this super soon. Anyone else really, and it could be any point too. I was just thinking about that group specifically, but was there like a catalyst or like a moment that you kind of finally like, I was like, I'm going to push myself, and like, what did that moment feel like? And like, maybe how did you get to that point of stepping out of your comfort zone? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. So when I came to Central, I think within like the first month or so, they did elections for community council. So on campus, like it's kind of like I think of it like student council, but in the residence hall communities. So they had elections for like e-board, and so I don't know what positions like. I know I went for president, and I went for like some like lower ones, or I was thinking about going for lower ones. But my roommate freshman year was like, no, go for president. Like you should go for it. And then my suite mates were also like, go for it, like just do it. And I was really scared because I was like. I'm so used to being like the supportive role, like I have to lead, like what? I have to delegate. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like that kind of present position. Like I've done it on lower scales. Like I was a community council, like not community council, social media like representative or something like lower for high school. But in college I was like, oh, like that's my first leadership role I'm going to do. But I ended up going for it. I ran against someone who's, I think she was like a 4th year or 5th year, and I really was intimidated. But I gave my speech. I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. And I actually won. And I was actually like really like shocked. But that made me step into leadership, because not only it's not just winning the race, but like I had to step in that whole year and like hold that position and make sure I was delegating, working closely with my community council advisor and all people in my res hall as well, just to make sure we're putting on events. And also with it being COVID, it was still like COVID time, so making sure that we made the events adaptable. Like I know we were able to be on campus at Central, but like making sure that people were able to kind of interact with each other while also being safe. So it really pushed me a lot to think about different things, find my leadership style, like know that I was more collaborative leader, and then I learned like, a lot of different skills. Like that was my first leadership, like main leadership position, that I think really was a catalyst for like stepping into more of a prominent like leadership face of something kind of position.
Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. I'm sure like some viewers maybe have some similar journeys, and like the idea of like you even said like I was a little intimidated, but I kind of trust my intuition, went for it, and things worked out, right? And it kind of helps really find your way. And like you mentioned a big point too of kind of recognizing like, you know, building and finding about who you are as a leader and finding part of that approach or style. And I think that's so critical. And the sooner you're able to do that, if you have the opportunities, I think the better, right? Because you have more time to learn how that grows. And that's probably shifted too, right, as you've grown into all these leadership roles. Because if you don't know Ku'Juana, very involved on campus in the best way, right? Like all over, doing so much. And so, and I know a lot of students look up to you and your leadership from what they've said and things like that. So definitely leaving a leadership legacy behind, which we love to see. But I love to hear that start, because I didn't know that about you, you know, kind of that starting point. I think sometimes a lot of folks, unfortunately, have that mindset where it's like, I have to be super involved in every single thing. We just kind of talked about this too on one of our other episodes. And I think it's a common theme and trend we've been kind of seeing, right? But, you know, just because you weren't involved maybe in high school or as involved early on doesn't mean you can't get involved later. Never too late. Right? It's never too late. And it's just kind of finding what you jam with. So, yeah, I love that.
Question number 2 is, what leadership roles do you currently hold or have held, and how have you made an impact on this campus? And what does leadership mean to you?
Okay, so currently, it's kind of funny because I'm like actually closing down a lot of the leadership roles, which is so like bittersweet. But currently, or like in the like within the next couple days, things I'm involved in are like hold leadership positions. So first, I work for the Office of Residence Life, so I'm a 3rd-year inclusion assistant in the Res Hall, so Wolt Hall. Yes. I'm also a dialogue facilitator, 3rd-year dialogue facilitator. I just did my last dialogue like 2 hours ago or so that's also kind of crazy. I'm also a campus ambassador for the Office of Admissions, undergraduate admissions at Central. I'm trying to think. I'm the LIDI work group coordinator. I feel like I'm blanking on something. Oh, I'm the president of Student Advocates for Prison Reform and the Incarcerated. And those are the ones I'll just touch on, because it's too much. Like, I don't want to, because you said everything I've ever held. I was like, I don't, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, the ones that mean the most to you. Yeah.
Those are the main ones. And then you said what they mean to me. So I would say, like, all of them have, like, I feel like they all have a common thread for the most part. So, like, I would say the one that kind of, I guess, doesn't have the same line of stream work as the other one. So I'll start with that one first. Campus ambassador, like being a campus ambassador for me, like it was something I wanted to do my senior year. I thought not only was it a nice way to just like get more involved my last year and like kind of spread everything I've learned to incoming, hopefully incoming freshmen or transfer students, but like also as a way for me to just kind of, I guess, say goodbye to CMU in some way and like spread all my knowledge I have, get people recruited, and like share my story a little bit more. Like I love doing panels. Like I think that's something that made me think about it. Like I did impact panels, so I really love doing that, or other panels that they've asked me to do. And I like also interviewed for like the LIS scholarship, but I was like, I want a more direct, contact with more students. So through that position, I've been able to go to like scholarship dinners or just dinners, recruitment events, and just be able to share my story. And I just think that is really rewarding, and my farewell to CMU. And then my other one, so being an inclusion assistant, and then dialogue, and then LIDI coordinator, work group coordinator, all that stuff kind of deals, like, again, what I said, like social justice, equity, kind of like seeking out those kind of things, especially in institutions. So like that's my real passion. I'm going to law school in the fall, and I want to be a civil rights lawyer. So something with that constitutional law, something like that, to help make a change in like social policy and stuff. So that kind of has all helped me, like all of those roles have helped me develop my skill, and they mean a lot because like I get to do what I love, like put on programs, engage in dialogue with students, or helping to kind of make, for instance, like the Leadership Institute more inclusive, and just helping with things like Safari and their programming and curriculum. Like that stuff was really rewarding for me to do. So I guess like that's what that means to me. And then you said kind of like, what does leadership mean to me? Or
yeah.
No. Yeah. Leadership to me means like, I feel like there's no one way to lead at all. My way to lead, I just like I said, I'm more collaborative. I'm more kind of more rooted in like just like inclusivity for all, and like kind of advocating for that. But like there's multiple ways you can lead, and I think leadership is like your way to express yourself. So that's how I kind of view it. Like, I feel like there's no cookie cutter way. Like, some people, I know a lot of people look up to me, and I've started to realize that this year. I just thought I was leading, so I've never really thought of it like that. But I always encourage people, like, be your own leader too. Like, always take inspiration from others, but like there's only one you. There's only one you, so you be that best leader you can be. And like, obviously it's great to look up to people and lean on them, but like don't neglect who you are and like your leadership, because we need your voice and we need your own unique style leadership. So I think that's what leadership is to me, being your own unique person and leaving your stamp, wherever you are.
Yeah, I like that, and I relate to that a lot, because I feel like that when it comes to leadership, it's like that, like we always talk about, that unique path, you as a unique person having your own unique thoughts and doing what it is that you want to do to make an impact or make a difference. And a lot of things that I think about is, if there's some good leaders out there, so like you said, being influenced, but if we just keep following other people, then are we really making a difference? So I think being your own leader and embracing your uniqueness, embracing who you are, you will create things that no one has thought of on this planet, and make change in places that no one would think change could be made. So because I kind of want to ask you, like, what made you so interested in like social justice and like even going further in your education in law school?
Definitely, that goes way back to like 9th grade. So in 9th grade, I was a part of this like program for like marginalized students, or students like would be first gen college students. So I was part of that program in my high school, and we watched a film called The 13th, which we actually watch in IGR CGL 145 if you take in the class. And then it's about mass incarceration and like the loophole in the 13th Amendment, making slavery illegal for people who are incarcerated. And learning about that, and just learning about kind of the Black Lives Matter movement tied into that, because I was also mentioned in the film, and just like, I don't know, kind of popped my little bubble I was in, because like I said, I grew up in like Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor area. If you're not familiar with the area, it can be kind of like, fake woke, if you want to call it. Like, you're in your own little bubble sometimes, and you kind of like aren't realizing the struggles, especially Ann Arbor more so. So I was kind of fallen victim into that, and I didn't really realize like what was going on, especially with my community or just other marginalized communities. So that film woke me up from that, and I was more interested in it, like got more passionate about that. So I did, took more classes that I could in that kind of stuff, and tried to apply that, and tried to like be an advocate. I took a law class in high school, and like philosophy, different things that were allowing me to kind of dissect these social issues. And then coming to college, I knew I wanted to study sociology, because I was like, I want to talk about like the social systems and like how the people interact with each other. And then the classes I was being in, like, just kind of perpetuated me more into it. Like I said, in high school, I dabbled with like law. I got shadowed a defense attorney. She told me about what she was doing, and I was still kind of cultivating exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I was like interested in law by the time I was a freshman. Like, I knew I wanted to go to law school. That was like something I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to help people. I kind of shifted from being a criminal, I think I wanted to be like a criminal defense, or like something with defense attorney, lawyer. But then I was like, then I found out civil rights, I knew that my passions would always defend those people, if that made sense. Like, I wouldn't have to worry about the moral like blurriness. I knew like if you're being discriminated against, or you're being kind of something just for the identities you hold, or like what you believe, like I knew I would want to be that kind of advocate for you. And then, like I said, like my leadership positions helped me immerse myself deeper into all of those experiences, and I got experience advocating, organizing protests, creating events with raising awareness, being that ally. So that kind of just solidified it. Like, I don't know, it kind of all perfectly meshed together in the weirdest way, but like it kind of led me to where I am today. But like over time, things just built up, and I never like wanted to shy away from the work. I just wanted to be more invested in it.
I love that. I mean, like you said, it's all kind of interconnected, right?
Yeah.
And I love how, like, even if you've gone through like a leadership experience, or you've found ways to take from those opportunities to apply to your future career, like how you said, again, it's connected, right? Like those human skills we talk about, like the critical thinking, communication, leadership, problems, all those great things, and you found ways to connect that to what you want to do. And I mean, it seems like you kind of found your passion at maybe a little bit of a younger age than some folks do, which is incredible. But you've also like continued to find ways to grow, and like you kind of said, like it's been a journey though too. Like you knew you were passionate law, but you found different things through getting involved. And I think, like, again, sometimes I think, again, as general, like in our world, sometimes we almost box ourselves into one thing. Like, we're studying this one thing, we have to go through with it. We spent so much time on this one area, where it's like, if we get involved, maybe it opens our complete perspective, or bursts our bubble, as we'll say, right? Like into different things we didn't even know were an option for us. And so I really love it, like they shared that. I appreciate that. So it was cool.
I like it too. Also, I don't want this to be a hard question, but let's say we lived in a world where you had the power to change something just in a snap of your fingers. Like or I guess another way to rephrase it is like, what's the end goal? Because I'm very curious, because I want to understand your vision so I can have some sort of a passion towards it too as well.
So I'll do the second one, because snap your fingers, there's so many things. But my end goal, so I don't want to just be a lawyer and practice civil rights law. Like, I want to do that for a couple years or some X amount of time, but ultimately I do want to get more into like policy reform and creating new public policy, or dismantling some systemic structures and stuff like that. So I'm still like cultivating exactly what my end goal is, but I know I want to practice for a little bit, but then I want to also get in the policy side of stuff and use my my legal expertise and my legal voice to help nonprofits and advocating for them. Maybe I was also looking at being a judge and helping to kind of like, I know like sometimes they can have limited power, but I also think that like having myself in that realm could also be an advocate. I could be an advocate for change in that aspect. So those are some things I definitely want to do, but my main goal is definitely trying to, like I said, dismantle a lot of the systemic discrimination or racism that we have, in our country. Like a lot of the laws, like 3 strikes you're out, or mandatory minimums, or just like different things like the 13th Amendment loophole, all that stuff has made me really passionate for like kind of cultivating change for that, and like not letting those, like, these are legal like avenues that are in place, so like not letting like those, I don't want those to hold people back, and I want to dismantle those slowly but surely. I know it's like a hefty goal to like kind of reinvent the criminal justice system, but ultimately like I want to have a hand in doing that and making society more equitable for all people. Like you don't have to worry just because you have a marginalized identity if you're going to be treated with respect, so that's kind of like my goal. So whatever I can do to inch society closer towards that, and then I think just understanding the law will help me to like dismantle some of the things I don't find to be legal or just.
No, I like that, or just, because it's like people in dismantle. I like that word too, because also kind of tying into leadership is no shame to anyone else, but others around us may say, well, that's just law, that's just how it is, that's just the world we live in. But you are saying, no, like, I'm gonna be this leader, I'm gonna take the steps that I need to take to get here and change this stuff. And I like hearing your story from 9th grade, and then what made you come here, and just what you're passionate about, because there, like I said, there's a lot of people out there who believe that it is just how it is. And one thing I learned from Steve Jobs is he said something like, if you grow up in a world where people just tell you like that's just how it is, and you just try not to bump into things and whatever, and just whatever. And then he said something like, everything around us was created by people no smarter than you or me. Like anyone can create anything, anyone can change anything. So I really do love that that's your passion, because that will help a lot of people. And when I was younger and I learned about that, I was like, wow, like I never knew that, because there's so many loopholes in law, and it's just like, what in the world, like what kind of country is this where it's like you can get away with this and get away with that? And it's just like the ethical and the moral, I guess, treatment towards humans, I would say, like it's just like, I don't know, it's just people just go, oh, it is what it is because it's law.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's right. Even in my applications to law schools, I told them like I don't want to learn the law to like necessarily uphold it, but so I can learn it to push it to be better. Hold people accountable. That's like I was very open. Like that's why I'm learning the law. Some people are just like feeding into the system, but I was like I want to learn it so I can dismantle it the right way, so I can undo these systems the right way, and so I know what I'm doing. Because some people are just like let's tear it all down, but I mean, as much as I would love to do that, we gotta like there's like some procedures and things we have to do, and like we have to learn about why they're the way they are, and like use that to like kind of so the way it was because this reason, but like I learned that there's another reason we could do it like this, like there's other avenues, but that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I think like adding to your point too, Mello, about realizing things, I think there's also a lot of and again in our world, like there's a lot of just pushback against sometimes dreaming, right? Like having that big lofty vision and like going for it. And of course sometimes our big vision we might not actually fully achieve, right? But if we can push that needle just a little bit, it makes the world so much better for folks. And like but it's also hard, I think, to also like sometimes follow your intuition, and especially when you're surrounded in that. And so I think it's so important also to surround yourself in a positive environment, right? That support system where people are encouraging you to take risks and try new things, because, and like you said even as well, like if we just kind of do the same thing all the time, you're not carving your own way as a leader or finding your own path. And maybe you do have the skills and ability and background to make the big change that hasn't been done before. But if you just kind of did what everyone else is doing, we would never know.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, no, I appreciate y'all kind of highlighting that too. I mean, I guess I have a question for both of you, really, but Ku'Juana, in your experience too, like, I mean, having this big vision and dream, which I know you're gonna achieve because, like, you can just tell, right? You're passionate, you're crushing it. But like, has there been already like moments, and again, share if you're comfortable with that, there like people have kind of pushed back against it, maybe people that are close to you and like maybe you should slow down a little bit, or maybe like you're dreaming too big? And if so, like how do you deal with that, especially when there are people that you care about and that are close to you, because to not hold you back, if that makes sense?
That's a good question. I don't know, I feel like that's hard because I feel like at least like my close family like have always supported like my goals. In terms of like, even if I can't, I think one thing, like, I guess, I don't know if this quite answers it. I mean, I've had some people that they're not really close to me, they'll be like, oh, maybe you're shooting for here, but maybe like lower a little bit. But it's not really affected me too much. I'm kind of like used to that, unfortunately, especially being like a Black woman, like just like having a lot of goals and ambitions. Sometimes like society's like, I don't know if you could do that, but I've presently shocked myself and be able to achieve everything that I want to achieve, especially at Central, and then even moving forward in terms of like where I'm heading, just like learning to believe in myself, and then the road will make itself. But I would say like one thing is I guess I gave myself a lofty goal, and I feel like you just like touched on it, like even if we make small strides, like that's something I recently more adopted. Like I feel like a year or two I really was like, I'm gonna dismantle the whole system, and it's like great, like period, like I believe like I can help, but like I had to start saying like that's a lot to put on myself. That's a lot. Like, you can't, one person can only do so much. So, like, I think maybe becoming, it's, like, about collaboration. It's about, like, okay, let's all do this together. Like, it's not just going to be me by myself. It's going to be me with supportive. Like, we got to build allyship and build a collective together to just deconstruct these things. So, I think I had to change my mindset personally, and just, like, be like, okay, it doesn't just have to be me. Don't put that weight on yourself, but just make sure, like, you're one of the ones, Yeah. And I feel like that's, like, something, because I feel like a lot of people, like, again, we talked about earlier, a lot of people feel the pressure to get involved in a million things. Like, just like find one thing that you really want to be, you're really passionate about. Like, sometimes you won't have 3 things you're passionate about. Like, I happen to have, like, but even my passion for the 3 things I talked about earlier are not all the same, or the 4 things are not all the same. They're different levels. But like, make sure you at least find that one thing that you're really passionate about, and you can able to root that in. But like, yeah, going back to that, like, I feel like society has like kind of pushed me down a little bit, but just like close people, like people, I think because like I also like kind of show that I'm like invested in this stuff, like through my actions. So like they're like, okay, yeah, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. Like anything I put my mind to, like I've been able to achieve. Like just being able to like put myself down, buckle in, and just like try to make it happen. So, but yeah, I definitely had to check myself and be like, don't put all the pressure, because then you're gonna burn out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to burn out, because then I can't achieve what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
Exactly. It ties into leadership, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it ties into leadership with that bit of like, you said it perfectly. Like you have to. It's a collaborative effort, right?
Yeah.
It's working with people to achieve that vision. But maybe as the vision setter, right, the leader in that case, like you're able to communicate that and find ways to work together to achieve those goals. Mm-hmm. It was great.
I also agree with you. And one thing that I felt in that way is I had a friend tell me, like, you can't save the world overnight. And that hurt because, like, that's...
No, that's like, but...
Because you want to.
You want to. You really want to. The desire
and you feel like you can.
Yep.
You know, and it's just realistically, it's like, no, this takes a lot of people and community and a lot of work that... I just can't take
on your own.
On my own. So I agree with you with that one. For me, on the other hand, though, I don't feel like people have directly put me down as far as any goals per se. Now, this is kind of like a side note. Like growing up, I used to play with Rubik's Cubes and stuff like that, and people used to always say, "I can never solve that. Like, good luck." But they will always say, like them.
Yeah.
I can never solve that. They would never say, you can never solve that. I ended up being able to solve it, so I could solve it pretty good. But now, like, here I am, like, I'm trying to start a business, stuff like that. And someone was like, well, everyone's doing this and everyone's doing that. So it's like, kind of to go, what I'm saying is, I had that luxury of people saying that they couldn't do something. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm older now, I don't have that same luxury of people telling me that they can't do something. Now it's more so, well, are you sure about that? Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. So I think it's more of a society thing. And it's never like directly. It's always, well, you can't do this because everyone else has already done it. Or you can't do this because of this and that and that. And to kind of get like a solid like answer, it's like, I think it literally goes back down to what we've been talking about before, is people think it is just the way it is and it can't be changed, and they try to put that on you. Even no matter what your goals or ambitions are, you could be, I want to have a car that's pink, you know. Well, you know, if you have a car that's pink, someone might steal it or something like that. You know, they try to shut you down. They're not shutting you down because they don't like you. They're just trying to shut you down because they have this shut down mentality, I guess. You know, where it's just like there's no hope, there's no whatever. And for me, whenever I hear people, which not trying to say that I'm better or anything, but when I hear people have small-minded comments, let's just say that, when people give small-minded comments towards big dreams or big ideas, then I just kind of go, okay, and I walk away, because a lot of times those people can't really even comprehend what you're saying. So going back to you, like everything you want to do, like, you know, as you get higher and higher up in your academic field, you may run into people who be like, well, you can't do that because America's been for like 300, 400, 500 years. And it's just definitely. Like, it's just like, you can think that I'm going to leave, and it's not, I'm going to prove you wrong, but like, I mean, so to speak, like, right? like just
negativity to yourself.
Yeah. Just watch me, because you can stay in your world where you think, you know. So that's to answer your question. I think that there's a lot of people around us that have a closed-minded mentality, and I don't think we should give our energy to closed-minded mentality people, because a lot of us, you know, have big ideas and a big mindset and an open mindset towards things, and we will get shut down, or not even shut down. People will try to shut us down, and project. So that's my answer to that question.
Good. No, that's so true. That's so true.
I love that. Thanks for sharing, both of you, on that too, and you know, talking about that. Yeah, it goes back to, I don't know if we mentioned it today or not, but of importance of surrounding yourself with people again that like build you up, right, uplift you, and sometimes that can be a little challenging to do in the day-to-day, right, depending on the environments you're in or the natural. But again, like finding those core people, I think makes a big difference, right? I think about a small example, for example, in Romel'o, and I with the show, right, we were kind of like, oh, I don't know if we should do it, and we just kind of both like, let's go for it, right? But like, I don't think I would have been able to launch that if it was someone who was more negative, or was like, are you sure about that? Like, you want to do this? Or, you know,
has a podcast,
right? Now, exactly. It's hidden. Yeah. Or it's like, oh, you don't have this kind of setup and stuff like that. And so, you know, but we're here doing it. So, but again, that's come from finding people, right, that are supportive and
Yep.
stuff, and spending more time. And again, that's not to say like to cut off that negative person, especially if it's someone that's close to you, but just spend less time with them,
drown it
right?
out a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't like
yeah,
open your
exactly.
ears to everything they have to say.
So I appreciate y'all sharing about that. So I think Mel's got another question here.
So, last question. If you can give any advice to anyone watching right now, the audience, whatever it may be, something that you just really want people to take away from this, what would you say?
I think I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I would just reiterate, like, have confidence in yourself. Like, I told you about, like, how I started, and I, like, in high school, I really doubted myself, and I was starting to step into leadership a little bit, but I always wondered, like, what would have happened if I just, like, stepped out and, like, believed in myself, but it's all a part of the journey, so, like, doing that in college has really, you know, skyrocketed me to the person I am today, and, like, even my high school friends, like, they knew I was capable of being a leader, but they're like, wow, like, Ku'Juana, you're really, like, you know, making a mark here at Central, like, they can even see it, knowing me from, like, how I was, and so I would just say, like, the first person, like, I know we talked about other negativities around you, but the first person you have to, like, kind of drown that negativity out is yourself. Like, you really just have to believe in yourself. Like, even if you have to fake it till you make it, like, just say you can do this, and, like, that mindset will shift. And, like, if you're negative, you won't really accomplish what you want because you're drowning yourself down. But if you, like, have that positivity and believe in yourself, the sky's the limit. Like, options are limitless. So I would just say believe in yourself, be your biggest supporter. Like, obviously it's great to have other support, but you have to believe in yourself because it just makes everything, like, that much more powerful coming from you. Like, you're the first person that needs to be in your corner.
I like that.
Yeah, that was good. You got anything to add?
You are the first person like that. You got to shut down sometimes. You like just, you know.
Focus in.
I think it's like a repetitive kind of thing. Like, I think, let's say someone wants to become a basketball player, right? You know, at first they're not that good because they never played. So I suck. I don't know how to play. But as they keep practicing, they get better and they get better, and they keep shutting down that mindset. Then eventually they do get good, and then it's, oh man, I'm a baller. You know, I'm pretty good. Yeah, it's the mindset. But it's like it's hard. You can't just wake up one day and be like, all right, I'm this. Like, you actually have to put in that practice to almost fake it till you make it, convince yourself to go, this is who I am, like, I can do this, you know. So I like that advice because I try to tell myself that all the time too.
I like that as well. Like, again, you have to actually do the work, right? At the same time, like, because if you're just telling yourself those affirmations, which is a great start, which is needed too. Yeah, exactly. It's both, right? It's like it's walking the walk. So, but yeah, I think, and myself included on this, like, I could even do that work a little bit more myself, like introspective work. Like, man, like, no, you're doing good, right? And like, just gotta find ways to, you know, continue to make it happen. So, yeah, I love that. Anything else, y'all? That was great advice.
No, yeah, I'm just happy to be here, be able to talk to everyone. This is nice. So yeah.
So well, again, that's Leadership in 20, Mello,
Yes.
Ku'Juana. It's been a great time learning a little bit more about your story. I appreciate you sharing those with our audience and stuff. Hopefully the audience got some knowledge, nuggets, as we say.
Hope so.
I think they did. I think it was a good time. And so, obviously, big excited you're graduating from CMU, but off to bigger things, and it's going to be awesome. I'm excited to watch your journey and see, you know, where you end up and all the amazing things you end up doing. But yeah, I know a lot of students are going to be excited to watch this one. So we appreciate you being on the show as well.
I'm so glad you got me on here.
Yeah, as you can tell, pretty busy, right? Individual. Ku'Juana is being so involved. So, but yeah, it's been a great time. So if you have a story too, the viewer, and you want to share that, there's a link in the description down below. Fill out some general information, a little bit about who you are, what leadership means to you, and we'd love to maybe hopefully feature you on the show and your story as well. Again, for now, it's Leadership in 20. We'll see you next time, and keep leading the way.
Bye.
Peace out.